Thank you, Lord. As we begin to come back and we're deciding for ourselves and for our families if it's the best decision, we have to make those decisions based on what we feel good about. You know, this is definitely a decision you can make based on how you feel.
Yes, amen.
Because logic says still stay home. Logic also says go out. You need people. You know, logic is all over the place. But what is your gut telling you? What is the core of who you are telling you?
Yes.
For some of us, it will be yes. Let's begin to gather again. For some of us, it will be no, not yet. Maybe June looks better.
Right.
And that's certainly okay.
Yes.
But one thing's for sure is we have still been connected.
Jesus.
Yes, amen.
Amen.
Jesus.
I was thinking during this time of quarantine, Lord, whatever it is that you want us to learn, let us learn that. And then I thought, but what is it? Should everybody be learning something? Well, some of us have not been in the position or the posture to position ourselves to say, God, what are you doing and how are you working in my life? We're still worried about how he's working in everybody else's life.
Come on now.
But not really zoning in on how he is working in our life.
Yes.
And I got to thinking, what we look for, we will find.
Yes.
If we find the Lord working in other people's lives, we're going to find him working in other people's lives.
Yes.
If we look for him working in our lives, we will find him working in our lives. If we find that, if we look and see that other people are not living or behaving or acting quite like we think they should be acting, we will also find that.
Yes.
And when we find that we do not get it right, and we look for those areas that we mess up, we're going to also find that too. And I heard one time before, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you look for, because you're bound to find it. Even the tiniest speck of dirt. I can clean my house all day long, and then the sunlight hits the floor just right. And I'm like, what happened? It's only me in the house today.
Come on, man.
And so what we look for, we will find. What if we quit looking for Christ followers by how one claims to be saved? It's going to get hard for just a minute, and then it will get better, I promise. Do we only look for followers of Christ among those who sit in the seats or the pews?
Yes.
Well, we've got a rude awakening these last 2 months, haven't we?
Come on.
Do we only look for Christ followers among those who only listen to Christian music? Do we only look for followers of Christ among those who wear the Christian t-shirt or the emblems? Do we only look for followers of Christ among those who protest liquor laws or a certain sexual orientation?
You better come on.
Do we only look for followers of Christ among those who seem clean and put together well? Jesus said in Matthew 12:33, a tree is identified by its fruit.
Right.
If a tree is good, its fruit will be good. If a tree is bad, its fruit will be bad. I will tell you, the times that I have been to pick up a pear off of a pear tree or an apple off of an apple tree, I have found both good fruit and bad fruit.
Right.
So if I were to find both fruit on one tree, would that be a good fruit or a bad fruit? I mean, a good tree or a bad tree?
Jesus.
Well, it all depends on what I was looking for.
Right, what you were looking for.
What I was looking for. What we look for, we will find. Say that. What we look for, we will find. If we deem alcohol to be bad, we will deem those who partake of it to be bad.
Right.
If we deem tobacco to be bad, we will deem those who partake of it to be bad. If we deem idolatry to be bad, we will deem those who participate in it to be bad. If we deem tattoos are bad, we will deem those who get tattoos to be bad.
Jesus.
Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Why is this message important for us today? It's because church is not going to be the same way it was when we left.
Right.
If we think we are coming back to a structure where people are still unchanged and transformation is not taking place, we will be in for a rude awakening. And I'm not saying that to say, well, get ready, God's got to. No, God is changing us from the inside out. You know, a part of me wants to say, I could care less what He's doing in your life. But I know that's not true. I care what He's doing in your life. I care about all the highlights and all the gifts and all the good things that the Lord is bestowing on you and stirring deep down inside of you. All the other stuff will fade away or go away. You already see the things that you don't want nobody else to see.
Come on.
Those aren't the things that I'm excited about. I am excited about the things and the opportunity that God is opening up for us.
Amen.
We will not return to brick and mortar.
Come on, man.
Or aluminum and concrete.
Jesus.
The way we always have.
Come on now.
In fact, the statistics is only 30% of the congregation will come back.
He'll come back, right.
Wow.
Jesus.
Only 30%.
Jesus.
So it's a third.
Right.
A third is our children.
Jesus.
A third is our elderly.
Right.
And a third is all those folks that fall in the middle.
Jesus.
So do we or can we look past those things that we deem to be bad and look for good fruit that may be present in people? Jesus said this in Mark 7:15. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. And I don't want to take this out of context. I know the Pharisees were criticizing him that his disciples did not wash up before they ate.
Right.
And in a different passage it says it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles you, it's what comes out. You know, because of what comes in your mouth, and Jesus says this explicitly. I don't think I've ever seen it this way.
Right.
He says what goes in your mouth goes into the body and passes out through the sewer. But it's what comes out of your heart that defiles you. And so Jesus was teaching something here, but I want to use just that text. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. He goes on a few verses later in Mark to say this. And then he added, it's not what comes from inside that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, comes evil thoughts. Anybody been there? I'm preaching on myself, by the way. Sexual immorality, theft, murder. Well, I haven't killed anybody. Adultery, no, I haven't went there either. But greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. Anybody been foolish? Like, not in a good way, like in a foolishness kind of way. All these vile things come from within. They are what defile you. We act like sin. It's just something that's lurking outside of our bodies, waiting for us to just step in. But Jesus said it's what comes out of your heart that defiles you. Sure, there's temptations all around me. Why? Because inside my heart, there's times I'm a little gutter-minded. You ever heard that term, get your mind out of the gutter? Okay? And so that already lies in us. We have to train ourselves, and we have to, transition ourselves and position ourselves in a different way of thinking. But at the same time, sin is not just something waiting for us to step into. It's a condition of what lies within already. So can we pause for just a moment? I love to pause. That's probably my greatest gift of life, is that we can just pause for a moment. So close your eyes. Just pause for a moment. Can we do some inventory about what has proceeded from our hearts lately? Now, I'm not asking you to deny what may be true about certain people, but I want you to consider your feelings towards certain people when you think about the evil stuff that may be true about them.
Mm.
So we ask ourselves, what has proceeded from our hearts lately? Let's talk about me. Since sometimes that's easier. I don't want to talk about you. I don't want to bring your stuff to the front and expose it. But let me talk about me. When Macy was 14, she went to live with her dad after a pretty crappy court case. Okay. I felt set up and sabotaged as a mom.
Jesus.
I was distraught, I was wounded, and I began to experience bitterness. I overanalyzed myself. I overanalyzed my daughter, her dad, his family. I had evil thoughts regarding those individuals who had written letters of affidavit in favor of him being the better suited parent. I could tell you, or I could tell that I was spiraling into a crazy cycle that would take 2 years to pull myself out of. I prayed. Isn't that a good thing to do when you're feeling like this? Yeah, I prayed. I preached, just leading your pain, whatever. I loved. I believe that I genuinely loved people during this time. I served. I worked. But I couldn't really process the deeper path God was trying to take me on because I couldn't quite shake my pride. Anybody ever had pride issues?
Yes.
Oh, I'm telling you, pride is a beast that you can't conquer. However, with God, all things are possible. So little by little, God was chiseling away all the layers of defense that had built up, not just from this situation at hand, but from years of not paying attention to the little things that proceeded from the heart. If I was going to see other people as whole people, isn't that what we should be doing? Seeing people as whole people.
Yes.
That I first had to be whole. Again, we will only see what we want to see.
Yes.
What we look for, we will find. Say that again. What we look for, we will find. And the truth is that God did not orchestrate the pain in my life that led me through this certain path. He simply used the pain that was already there. God doesn't orchestrate pain in my life. Listen, my mom used to pray, God, whatever it takes. And I knew what she meant. I don't want tragedy and hard times to come, but if you have to orchestrate hard times, then do it. Look, I don't pray that way. I pray, God, let your love surround them, because there are two ways that leads us to transformation and change. It's either great love or great suffering. And unfortunately, we don't get it in love. Love. We soak it up and we're self-absorbed and we think it's about me and they pay me attention and they notice me and I feel appreciative and then you begin to spiral till one day you walk in and you're not noticed as much, you're not appreciated as much, but the truth is you're still noticed, you're still appreciated, but the need to be noticed and appreciated becomes more and more until it's not enough.
Jesus.
Is it okay to be loved and appreciated and noticed? Absolutely. But too much of one thing?
Come on.
And I think about the evil things that proceed out of my heart, the thoughts and Am I alone
No,
today?
you're not. No,
Am
you're
I
not.
alone?
No.
Because I know when I don't say amen, it's because, oh God, you're doing something on the inside.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's so loud on it.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't God that orchestrated the pain. He just simply used the pain that was already there. Do you know pain and suffering is a shortcut to the presence of God?
Jesus.
Wow.
Even though He's always here, He's always with us, but pain is that shortcut that immediately makes us aware of His presence
Yes.
within us.
Yes.
Pain is a shortcut to the presence of God, or our acknowledgement to the presence of God.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was up to me to recognize that God was in this process. So let's get back to what's proceeding from our hearts. Do we or can we look past those things we deem to be bad and look for good fruit that may be present in people? This is an art that we have to cultivate. It doesn't just come natural to see the good things in people all the time.
Right.
I mean, it is. Some people can walk and you're like, oh, wow, yes, they're so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But hang around them too long.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I can't hang around people too long. Man, you'll be seeing me. Some people hang around just long enough for you to see what they want you to see. And then they get out of there real quick so you don't really see them. But how crazy is that? Because at the core of who we are, we want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be loved. But yet we skip on out. If I keep dwelling on circumstances that were out of my control, I would always see the bad in people. The truth is, there was good in what was taking place, but my pride would not let me see it because I had blinders on.
Jesus.
The situation with my daughter and her dad, it was a beautiful situation, even though it didn't come together seamless. My pride, his pride, her feeling some sort of way, all these factors. You know, when I'm spiraling, somebody else is spiraling, the other person's spiraling, you come together, it is a concoction for an explosion. And so then when you let the dust settle, you try to collect the pieces, but we don't always try to collect our pieces. We try to put ourselves back together and continue to tell people how they need to be fixed.
That is so true.
But God, as I pick up these pieces, just let me sort out what's mine.
Yes.
What's mine? You know, I can be self-aware, and self-aware is a good word, but we can be so self-aware that we're not socially aware of what's going on in the lives and the relationships we have with other people. And I know I sound like I'm preaching hard, but I'm not. This comes from a place of love and a place of, I see you.
Yes.
I hear you. Of God saying, I know where you are. I know where you have been. I know where you are going. But the greatest, the shortcut to where I am wanting you to go is when you quit denying the pain that's already there and you acknowledge it and embrace it and process it. Wow. God, how did I get to where I am today? The blinders that I had, the blinders were proceeded out of my heart. They defiled me, and they also, those blinders, because I had blinders on, also had the potential to hurt other people. thank God, to my knowledge, I did not spill what was on the inside out. Now, granted, Kenny called it, my kids called it. We can deal with that. That's not okay. So I don't want you to think that's okay, as long as it don't get on y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure y'all probably wreaked some havoc on some of this.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? The times that I was short-fused, short-tempered,
Yes. Yes.
and it came out, it spilled out. It wasn't you.
Yes.
It was me.
Yes.
It was me not dealing with myself because I was short with you.
Mm-hmm.
I walked away too early when you were about to share more of yourself. Because the truth is, I couldn't be present with me. I couldn't be present with the pain. Does that make sense to anybody? I mean,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
and so how I lead someone, how could I lead someone to a place of freedom when I wasn't free? And we have these false sense of realities of, well, it's okay. I mean, it's just me. It's not going to affect somebody else. I can help somebody on their journey, but you will always, anytime your story is unprocessed, it will always bump up to somebody else's story. And listen, this concoction and this web that is spiraling out of control, it just gets even bigger. And so I wasn't free to see how God and where God was working in my life. Matthew 15:14 says this. Jesus said to the Pharisees, or of the Pharisees, they are blind guides leading the blind. And if one of the blind persons guides another, they will both fall into a ditch. I'm pretty certain these Pharisees did not think they were blind. And that's the thing about being blind. You don't know that you're blind. Even when a mirror is put up to you, you still don't know it. So how is it that we begin to realize, oh my word, I've been blind this whole time. No wonder I couldn't see you. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at me.
Right.
I was too busy about what was going into me to see what was going on with you. And then sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I'm too focused on you that I don't see the havoc that I'm wreaking on myself. Too much of anything is not good. I would love to tell you that this is the only time I've ever experienced blindness. It wasn't. You laugh. It's okay. Let's breathe. Deep breath in and blow it out. Let's breathe. I promise. Yeah. I'm more of a whole person today than ever, and I'm much more of a holy person today too, because I've had sandpaper people in my life that the Lord has used to sand off some of those rough edges. So thank God for those hardships. Thank God for that suffering, because I still chose to show up and be present in my relationships that weren't 100%. And that'll rub you the wrong way.
Yes.
I call it conscious love. Conscious love is a pathway to transformation. And I have to consciously love people.
Right.
I do. You know, well, I gotta love you, but I ain't gotta like you. I don't know how I feel about that statement either.
Jeez.
So if you say it again, I may look at you a little sideways like, okay, unpack that for me. But the more I engage with people and the more interactive I am with people, you know what I begin to realize? There are so much more in people than they see in themselves. I talked to a lady for an hour yesterday that I'm not even affiliated with in this organization, and nobody really wants to deal with her. Yes, who wants to deal with us? I guess because I see a glimmer of light, and I see the Lord's presence already at work in her life. How do I see that? Because I see Him working in my life.
Right.
And when I know and I can see and I can tell you how and where God is working in my life, it's easy to see how and where God is working in other people's lives. Listen, it's not going to be, oh, they need to get rid of the bottle. I'm not an advocate for that.
Jesus.
I feel some sort of way about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you get rid of this and you get rid of that and you get rid of that, then things are... No. How about we start asking the question, where's God at work in your life? And how is he working in your life? You know, how are you? I'm fine.
Jesus.
No, you're not. You just lied to me.
Uh-huh.
How do I know? Because I lied to you.
Come on, man.
Okay, I will get off it.
Come on.
I promise.
Come on.
I'm closing.
Jesus.
God is so good to us. He is so kind to us. He is so patient with us.
Amen.
And if he's that patient with us, how much more should we be willing to be patient with others? What I have to do is take inventory of what's proceeding from my heart. That will always be a clue as to what tree I am, good or bad. Like I said, I'm not asking you to deny the truth of the circumstances or other people. There are some things that are obviously off. Don't deny that. But what is your feelings and your attitude toward that? Could be a great indicator of what's going on the inside. It's not my place to judge another person's fruit. Folks, I learned a long time ago, I'm not a fruit inspector. I'm a fruit bearer.
Come on.
And if I go around trying to inspect everybody's fruit, what I find, I'll see. But if I'm simply bearing the fruit that's already there, that should be there, then what I'm going to see when I go around and I engage in people is the life that's already there. I'm still not 100% there yet, but I'm still working on it. Remember, Jesus came to show us how to be human, not animals or machines. We must constantly check our heart and what proceeds out of it. And so instead of making it our job to deem others as good or bad, perhaps we can be aware of our emotions toward others. What is coming out of us? What comes from here? Is it slander or evil thoughts? Is it envy? Is it pride? Perhaps those are the very things that God is wanting to redeem in us. It's not always about the circumstance, but how and where is God working in you in the midst of these circumstances. I can't always say that I've always been tuned in to how and where God was working. But I don't know if it's something about getting older. I hope that as we get older, we can get wiser.
Amen.
But I know that's not always true either.
Yes.
But I have realized that my pain and my suffering is the shortcut to acknowledging God's presence. He's not orchestrating the pain. He's not orchestrating the hardship. He's not orchestrating the coronavirus. He's not trying to punish his people. He's not trying to bring vengeance. He's not trying to bring justice to the world. You may believe that, I don't.
Come on, man.
I'm okay if you believe that, I don't. But I do believe that in the midst of this, what he is trying to tell us is that his love for us is so great and so deep and so rich and so pure and so patient and so kind that we will miss it